Welcome to worship with First Presbyterian Church in Bend. We practice what we call a spacious Christianity, where there's room for everyone, and we mean everyone. No matter where you find yourself on the faith journey, even if you find yourself without faith, you are so very welcome here. We welcome your questions and doubts and see them as gifts that invite us into deeper conversations. We celebrate diversity and believe it's a strength. And we remind you every single week that you are made in the image of God's goodness and that you are so very loved. We do our best to live the spacious and radical love of Jesus so that all might have a chance to flourish in this world. As we try our best to practice a spacious Christianity, we hope here that you can find space to breathe, a faith you can believe in, and a God who believes in you. We're so very glad to worship with you in this way, but if you find yourself in the area on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. or 10 a.m., we'd love to have the chance to greet you in person. Take a deep breath and know that whether you're sitting on the couch, at your desk, in bed, maybe even washing dishes, the presence of God's love is as close to you as your own breath. And it's my prayer today that you might become aware and experience the presence of that love in a new way through our worship. Because when that happens, it changes the way we are present in the world. Welcome.
There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy enough, there is grace enough, there is love enough for all of us. There is mercy There is love enough for all of us.
One of life's hard truths is that life is not about you. Psychologists suggest emotional intelligence is when you finally realize it's not all about you. Spiritual wisdom is when you ask, how can my life be used in service for the flourishing of others? The mission statement of First Presbyterian Church of Bend is living the spacious and radical love of Jesus so that all might flourish. Jesus said all who are self-focused, trying to save their lives, will lose their lives, will lose any sense of meaning, purpose, and joy in life. But all who are willing to give their lives away in love because of me will find life. Life like they've never known before. We rise when we are lifting others. We flourish when we help others flourish. Life is good when we're happy. Life is so much better when others are happy because of us. One of my all-time favorite stories took place during the Special Olympics in Houston, Texas. It was the 100-meter dash. There were 12 runners at the starting line. And when the starting gun went off, Danny, who lives with Down syndrome, started off like a rocket. And he was quickly way ahead of everyone else. And Danny was clearly going to win this race. He was having the time of his life. He was pumping his arms. He was grinning from ear to ear. He was waving at his parents in the crowd. About 10 meters from the finish line, Danny's feet got crossed. And he fell hard on the track. His knees and his elbows were bloodied. Tears were streaming down his face. And when the other runners reached Danny, they weren't focused on just racing past Danny so that they might win. Without signaling each other or speaking to each other, they all stopped. Every single one. They picked Danny up. They hugged him. And they held hands as all of the runners crossed the finish line together, side by side. Imagine for a moment how the world would change, how our lives would change if we lived with the hearts and wisdom of those runners in the Special Olympics. Imagine if we lived by their rules. No one really wins until everyone wins. Imagine if life was not about winning and getting ahead, but instead it was more important to pick those up who have been left behind, those who've fallen down, whose knees are bloodied. Imagine if we understood at a deep level that we all belong to God. And in belonging to God, we really belong to each other. As Dr. King would say, I cannot be fully who God intends me to be until you have a chance to be who God intends you to be. Imagine if we really understood in God's family, there is no other. There's only us. There is no me. There's only we. We rise by lifting others. We flourish when we help others flourish. No one wins, really, until everyone wins. This is the spirit that led us at First Presbyterian Bend to begin a partnership with African Road and 3 Batwa villages in the country of Burundi in East Africa. The poorest country in the world is Burundi. The Batwa are the indigenous people of Burundi. They are the poorest of the poor, and they're oppressed within their own country. Now, we weren't interested in short-term mission work. We wanted to invest in a long-term friendship. We wanted to avoid any sense of standing above as if somehow we were superior. We wanted to stand with our Batwa siblings, to stand with them in solidarity, to build relationships of trust and mutuality. You know, God doesn't send us out to the margins and to those who are marginalized so that, we can make a difference. I truly believe God sends us out to the margins, to places like Burundi, to build relationships with the Batwa so that we might become different, so that we might become changed by the relationships and friendships that are formed. I want to show a film about our partnership. It really highlights our partnership with 3 Batwa villages in Burundi. And it really shows what's possible through the power of friendship.
Some stories invite us to look beyond ourselves, to remember that joy has no boundaries and cannot be stopped. Meet the Batwa, a people who embody that spirit. A growing connection between one inspiring leader in Burundi, a cycle of committed friends across the globe, the strength of 3 villages, and the experience of one young woman demonstrates what becomes possible when dreams are nurtured by the power of friendship. Let's go to Burundi and see how beautiful the world can be. Marie was born in the country of Burundi. Her parents were indigenous people called Batwa. Marie's parents had grown up in the rainforests, living as hunters and gatherers, until they were forced out with no place to go. They ended up on barren land along with other Batwa people who had been evicted from the forests. They were despised by others, and tragically some were enslaved. They lacked skills for surviving outside the forest, but they chose to stay together. When Marie was born, she wasn't issued a birth certificate because her parents had no legal identity. She could not attend school or even access medical care when sick. She grew up as though she was invisible. Her parents worked long, hot days in the neighbors' fields. They were paid with a small portion of beans, barely enough to feed Marie and her sisters. As soon as Marie was old enough, she joined her parents working for beans. Though they had no legal identification and they lived in poverty, Marie's people never forgot who they were. They were the oldest people group in the region. They were the people who were artists, using their hands to make pots out of earth and clay. And they were the people who knew how to dance like no other. Dancing kept them alive. They danced when a baby was born and when someone died. They danced when they were hungry and when the rains fell. They always danced when guests came to visit. Though life went on with little hope of change, they never stopped dancing. When Marie was 17, she met Oscar, a Batwa boy from a nearby village. They fell in love. Without government ID, they could not legally marry, but they chose each other and began their own family. They gathered branches and banana leaves and constructed a small hut like others in their hillside village. In another part of Burundi, a young Batwa man named Evariste was growing up. Evariste had a mama who refused to be held back by the prejudice of others. She saw something unique in her son, and she committed to fight for him. She gave her all to see Evariste attend school. He faced stigma and hardship, but he excelled. 1 year at a time, they found a way to keep Evariste in school. With the help of kind friends and with a lot of hard work, he completed secondary school and went on to study law. Evariste became the second Batwa in the history of Burundi to graduate from university. In 2010, Evariste started his own organization to help other Batwa. 4 years later, African Road, a non-profit in Oregon, came alongside Evariste in friendship to listen, to learn, and to begin working together. In 2015, Evariste introduced Friends of African Road to Marie and the people of her village with these words: "I have not brought you beans and rice, but I have brought you friends. And with friends, many things become possible." Marie did not know what to think when she heard the words of Evariste, but the new friend listened to Evariste's word and understood their potential. They recognized the great need as well as the strength with Marie and her people. They returned to their community in Oregon with the stories and an urgent appeal for respectful assistance and committed partnership. In response, their community made a long-term commitment to join African Road and Evariste to learn and grow together in support of Marie's village and two more nearby Batwa villages. The first of their efforts was funding to provide identity cards, birth certificates, legal marriage rights, access to education, and medical care for each person in the 3 villages. Evariste and his team called this project ID Kids. Now, Marie, Oscar, and their children had an identity recognized by the government, a chance to finally belong and exist within society. Now, they could access resources and opportunities that were previously unreachable. The next step was to address extreme hunger and remove roadblocks to children being in school. Powered by friendship and connection, funds were raised to equip people to farm and grow food for themselves. For the first time ever, each family in the 3 villages could feed their children and send them to school. As progress was made, the Batwa danced in joyous expression of hope and the promise of a bright future. And dance was evolving, a testament to their dignity, a celebration of their progress, and an invitation for others to join. Over 8 years, the collaboration and connection between African Road and the Batwa communities in Burundi flourished. More and more people joined in, offering support and sharing resources. The purchase of farmland, more children enrolled in school, medical insurance for all became possible. Remarkable changes were happening in the villages. Fewer mothers died in childbirth, and children no longer suffered from preventable conditions. As school attendance brought children from all tribes together, neighbors began to welcome the Batwa in friendship. These were historic changes. Sadly, during this time, Marie's village was struck by a flood and landslide. But the friendship between the global community stood firm. Support came for recovery, demonstrating the bonds they formed were strong. In place of grass huts, 17 brick houses were built, a sign of hope and stability. As the villages have grown, so too has the leadership of Evariste and his team called Asijiba. Their accomplishments provide inspiration to others, proving that being Batwa doesn't mean you are limited to life on the outskirts of society. They have become valued members of their community and country. By 2023, African Road and Evariste brought life-changing ID kits to 7,000 Batwa people, clearing the way for progress. There are about 120,000 Batwa people in Burundi, Evariste dreams of seeing each one legally recognized and free to flourish. In Marie's village, hunger and despair are now a memory, and the energy and ability to look forward is tangible. The people are ready to expand their farming, learn vocational skills, and start small businesses. Marie's village provides a model for the future of the Batwa people of Burundi. Thoughtful, committed partnership and funding, guided by indigenous leaders, can equip people to lift up themselves and others. What started as a meeting between friends has evolved into a testament of what can happen when people come together to link arms in partnership and growing connection. When we nurture a friendship, what is already beautiful but not yet visible can thrive. This kind of story changes all of us for the better. It continues to unfold and flourish, and you are invited to the next chapter. The Batwa are still dancing. Will you join the dance?
I rejoice over the profound transformation that has taken place in those 3 Batwa villages in Burundi. I rejoice that our friendship and partnership has made it possible for our Batwa siblings to have what they need to flourish. I mean, this is lasting change. And I am so inspired by the leadership of Everest and his Asajiba team. I've learned so much from them. We at First Presbyterian Church in Bend, we have also been profoundly changed by this friendship and partnership. Our world has expanded. Our hearts have been enlarged. We have experienced immense joy, seeing the joy of our Batwa friends dancing. We are not the same as the result of this friendship, and we so look forward to deepening our friendship in the years to come. It's true. Life is good when you're happy. But life is so much better when you bring joy to others. We rise by lifting others. So look around you. Don't worry about the finishing line. Don't worry about winning. Don't worry about getting ahead. Look around. Who's been left behind? Who's been knocked down? Who might need a hand to get on their feet? And don't just lift them up. Grab their hand, walk beside them. Be curious about what friendship might look like. Be willing to receive as much as you're willing to give. You just might discover the one you're really lifting is yourself. May it be so.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices 3, singing together in harmony, This is the sound of voices 3. This is the sound of voices 3. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind and we'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Friends, no one really wins until everyone has a chance to win. We flourish when we help others flourish. We rise by lifting others. Go in the peace and the love of Christ. And may the love that you bring into the world bring peace to others. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us, and we really hope that you enjoyed this worship service. If you would like to make a donation, helping make these broadcasts possible, or support the many ways that we seek to serve our community, you can make a financial gift online at bendfp.org, and your support is really appreciated. If you'd like to support our partnership with the 3 Batwa villages in Burundi, providing ID kits, medical care, helping them grow their own food, or making it possible for their children to go to school, your financial gifts will truly transform lives. Go to our website, bendfp.org, and the link Give Online. You will then see an option to give to Burundi. Again, know that all your gifts, large or small, truly change lives. Thank you again, and until next time, may you be blessed, and may you be the blessing someone else is needing.